Welcome back to Sky Comics. Today I want to get into the age-old debate, is DC better than Marvel? Stay tuned. Welcome back, Sky Comics. We're talking DC versus Marvel. Now, I want to preface this by saying I have always been a Marvel guy. I've always watched Marvel movies. I've always watched the cartoons. Like that's just been my life since I was a kid. I grew up with the Fox X-Men movies, this Sam Raimi Spider-Man. Sam Raimi's Spider-Man is what really turned me on to the whole superhero thing. It was just a fantastic movie about a guy that couldn't get anywhere. He had all these great abilities. He was a wonderful person. He did everything for everybody else, but he just couldn't get a leg up. It was just such a relatable character. He had such real world problems, but having like these extra abilities. And I really resonated with that. I loved that. Spider-Man is my favorite superhero out of all of them. And for the reason that he was created. The whole point of Spider-Man was to be a ground level superhero that people could relate to. Like that was Stan Lee's vision for Spider-Man and what I believe to be his vision for Marvel. It was supposed to be something that we as readers or in the future watchers would be able to relate to and could kind of put ourselves in those shoes. Like it was a more obtainable, more believable story, in my opinion, as opposed to DC, where DC had this Gods Among Us type feel, where it was just these big problems. Like you have Superman. He's an alien from Krypton whose strength is heightened because of our sun, and he's basically unbeatable. Nobody can be Superman. We have Batman. Batman's a billionaire who is wicked smart. He's the world's greatest detective, and is a badass fighter. Also unobtainable for guys like you and me. Like it's not a realistic superhero that we could be. And I guess that's more why I didn't really care for DC titles growing up. Now, I didn't read a whole lot of comic books when I was little. The only DC story that I ever read up until recently was Doomsday and the Death of Superman. My dad had an old box of comic books, and I read through all of them. It was a fantastic story, which is weird because I openly trash talks Superman constantly. He's one of my least favorite superheroes. But as I've been kind of getting into the comic scene and making friends and talking to people, I started realizing a couple of things. Because I was always Marvel's better than DC. DC's terrible. People that read DC whoa. Like I was just like this elitist Marvel guy. And which is weird because like all the people that I've met in the comic community has been, they definitely have their sides that they pick, whether it's Marvel, DC, Image, with different independent comics. They always have their preference, but they're so welcoming and open to talk about everything that I started reevaluating some stuff. So I started doing some research. Like, why do people like DC so much? Why do they prefer DC Comics over Marvel Comics? DC Comics, from what I found out, they do a pretty good job of kind of consolidating a story. Like you maybe get one or two graphic novels, and you get the beginning, the middle, and the end. It has a resolution, and you don't have to read, multiple years worth of content to get any kind of resolution. Like it's a little easier to have a beginning, middle, and end. As opposed to Marvel, where like say you wanted to read Spider-Man, there's so many options, and some of those options span over like different, even other, like Spider-Man's in the Fantastic Four sometimes. He's all over the place. Like these characters always crisscross, and Marvel will do these big events where they have all of these characters intermingling, and you have to buy everybody else's. Like I have a Carnage run from earlier this year that spans over like $3. It spans over Carnage, Miles Morales, Red Goblin, and I think there's even another one. But you had to get all of those different titles from these different series in order to get the whole story, which is a pain. I found it's terribly difficult to try to read Marvel stuff if you don't have like their Marvel Unlimited app, which I do. And then even still, like, you still gotta go find out what issues are a part of what story arc sometimes. They don't just like split it up for you. So, and people like, and the people that I have spoken to and the research that I've done on the ones that pick DC over Marvel, they like the fantasy of the Supermans, the Flashes, the Green Lanterns, these like beings of extra power that can come in and do almost anything. And it's a type of like escape from their reality. I don't know. For some opinions that I've gotten have said that. They just like the idea of there being this all-powerful force out there somewhere that could save the planet. Whereas with me, I prefer Marvel. I absolutely love how Marvel characters are so relatable. When Peter Parker's late for work, when Tony Stark lets his ego get the best of him, when Wolverine allows to search for who he really is, blind him to the life and family that he has around him and currently. You can feel that. You can put yourself in these heroes' shoes for a moment and feel connected to something, which is where my love for these comics and movies comes from. Like that's my favorite thing. I like to be able to relate. And until recently, like when I was doing research for this episode, it never crossed my mind that DC is the actual first memory I have of superheroes. Like I said earlier, I found my dad's Superman comics, who I, like I said, openly talk crap about, and read the Doomsday and Death of Superman stories, and just couldn't put them down. And growing up with the Tim Burton Batman movies, yes, Michael Keaton is the best Batman. The whole Gods Among Us story type that DC tends to focus on holds a special place in my heart. Like, that's my childhood. Like, I liked that stuff as a kid when I was really little. When people are looking for that savior, when they feel they have no hope, that all the good in the world is just gone, the heroes that are able to restore that hope live in the DC universe. The Marvel heroes just can't compete with the image of hope Superman brings to the world. Just the sight of the bat signal is enough to strike fear in the eyes of evil and bring hope to the hearts of the desperate. Now, is DC better than Marvel? I don't think it's that simple. Sure, we can all agree that DC needs to get it together with their movies, and Marvel could really step it up with their animated series. But is one really better than the other? You tell me. Let me know down in the comments which one you think is better, or if you're a fan of both. To me, I think we need both. The fun escape of Spider-Man swinging around New York, thwipping from one sarcastic remark to the next, and in the same breath, we need the grit and dark reality that is Batman fighting the lunatics of the world as just a man in a bat suit. I will always love Marvel. Marvel's there. That Marvel has like my heart. Like, that's my stuff. But DC was first, and I should probably stop talking so much smack about them. But thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe, and click the bell to get notified when we upload new videos. And as always, be kind to others, and buy that homeless guy down the street a cup of coffee. Thanks. Bye.